All right, guys, so I am completely on cloud nine right now. All right. Hubby texted me yesterday while he was at work and told me to make my garden as massive as possible. His words, not mine. This all is going to become garden. I'm going to bring you along for a lot of it over the next couple of weeks, but right now we are going to get things started. Plan for today. This whole wheelbarrow is filled with seed starting mix that I made. If you guys are interested in how I make seed starting mix, I will try my best to link it down below for you guys. If I forget, remind me. But this whole area, I did not have the foresight to actually tarp it over the winter, so we're going to torch it. I'm going to show you how I do it. In last week's vlog, I was showing you how to use the torch to do the garden. And my son came along and did that for me, so I'm not able to actually show you the process of torching the garden, which was completely overrun with weeds. But I'm going to show you how I'm going to do it over here. I'm going to do as much as possible because it's going to rain for the next 2 days. So if I don't do it today, it's going to be at least a week, if not 2, before I can get to it. So it's got to be today. And then over here, we have these, my husband last year put in, ooh, the Nanking cherries are coming in. Can you see that? Over here is a huge, long, kind of windy thing. He'd used that to plant potatoes last year, but he didn't want to plant them again this year there. He actually made like a ton of really huge beds and put the potatoes in. I don't eat potatoes, but he eats a lot of potatoes, so it seems like a really good time to make a huge potato beds. But over here, I was originally planning on doing cabbage and things like that, but I think I might have missed my window, and I think this area being so big and sprawling would probably be perfect for more like winter squash. So that's probably what I'm going to do there. And this spot over here, I'm going to burn it so that I don't have to worry about as many weeds and stuff poking through. But I'm going to cover it with cardboard, feed bags, that thick like construction brown paper that you can lay down. Whatever I can get my hands on, I'm going to lay it down, put compost and dirt on top of it. Well, dirt then compost. And make them in the shape of the raised beds that I plan to do. And then later on, when I have the time and the materials, I'll come through and kind of encase them and build them up a little bit. So that's the plan for today. I'm also going to be out of town for the next 2 days. By the time you see this, I'll already be back. So I'm going to get as much done as humanly possible today, get a ton of seeds started. Yesterday and today, I uppotted all of my tomatoes, finally, only about a month late, but it's game time. So I got all of these sad little things growing. I got the heater going in there to make sure it stays nice and toasty. We had freezing nights, not last night, but the 2 nights prior. Last night was definitely cold, and I want to make sure the tomatoes stay nice and toasty. So let's get to work. Boiling water to kill off any ickies that might be in there. And I'm doing this first so that it has an opportunity to cool down before I put it in my plastic trays. Need another batch of water. As you can see, I was able to get kind of the whole border around the greenhouse. I got a pretty darn good buffer zone there. I'm going to go through and flame the entire border that I want to have burned. And then I'm going to let my kid take care of the rest. That took me so long, and my cameras kept timing out, and it was slow moving, so I just let it time out the last time. So I'm going to go ahead and do up the border, get some lunch, and then I'll probably have time to start a couple flats of seeds, but I'm going to show you all the seeds I'm going to start. My plan definitely did not go according to plan. It has been a week. I did not get any seeds started. One thing that I've learned about myself through figuring out that I have ADHD is something called time blindness. And that is where I very drastically overestimate what I'm able to do in a certain period of time. And so here we are. Over this last week, we spent 3 days out of town, and I had to package up 23 gallons of ferments. So it's been kind of a busy week. And while I was at the farmer's market, I purchased these lovelies. Elderberry plants. And I'm super excited about them. So I'm going to go ahead and water these, and then I think tomorrow I'm going to up pot these, and then that'll buy me a little bit of time to get the place established where I'm going to plant them. Oh, and one other thing that I got was at the farmer's market was some of these Craig's Grande jalapenos to get kind of a head start on the ones that I have. I got these ones from Living Traditions, and they are beautiful. So I'm just going to water the rest of these real quick. I'm surprised at how well a lot of these are doing, given how neglected they were. But unsurprisingly, many of them did not make it. I planted everything that had the slightest hint of life, so I'm not surprised some of them did not do well. I'm not entirely sure how to water them or keep them upright, so I'm gonna try putting them in a bucket, and we'll see. In my attempts to be realistic, I'm pretty sure that's all I'm gonna get done in the garden today. I have to make a 40-pound batch of kimchi, or I have to start a 40-pound batch of kimchi. I have to finish it tomorrow, and then I have to do the same thing with some cucumber kimchi. I think that's it. We'll see. Getting to the last day of this vlog, and so far I've laid down two rows of soil. This row has like a compost soil mixture that we had purchased on top, but I'm getting all of the soil from a giant pile that we have over there. My son dug up a huge pile of dirt trying to dig up a tree stump, and it's pretty decent soil. It has quite a bit of rocks in it, but it's not terrible. It's not as bad as it is here. So I'm just lugging it in for a bottom layer about 6 inches, I would say, and then I'm topping it with that soil that we purchased, and then I'm going to put a homemade compost with like duck and chicken manure in it on top. I just haven't gotten to this one yet, but my reason for finishing this one and then skipping to this one is I need to plant these. These are going to be cucumbers, both of them, and I really need to get them in the soil and get them started up. And then the other ones are going to be like tomatoes, peppers, okra, stuff that I can start ahead of time. But cucumbers, from what I've experienced, cucumbers don't like to be transplanted a whole lot, so I'm just going to go ahead, finish off this row. And for anybody who's wondering, hey, why doesn't she just till? Why doesn't she just dig in the ground? This is why. This is my soil. Okay? I burned it all off with the exception of that mullein plant there. I reserve the right to change my mind. For now, it's going to stay. We'll see how the beds end up. But that's why I have to do all of this extra work in order to get the garden going. I think that bed there was probably, no. So this one was probably 15 wheelbarrow loads. This one was probably 20. And by the time I finished this one, I switched to my truck and I started loading it directly into the truck. And then I'm going to put it into the gorilla cart or the wheelbarrow and then bring it over here. My truck is just, we left a machine access straight down, so I can just park my truck right there and then lug it over here. So that's going to be significantly easier, significantly quicker. So I have, I think, about 75 feet or so left of the cardboard paper. So I'm just going to do as much as I can do today. And then once I get as much cardboard laid out as I have, I'm going to go through and fill up the centers with wood chips, and that's just going to be the aisle. I decided to switch. My original plan was to build these in a way that I could convert it over to raised beds later, and I changed my mind. So I'm making these almost like market garden style. The rows are 24 inches, the aisles are 24 inches, and the rows are going to be roughly 30 inches, roughly. I'm measuring, but I'm not perfect, so it's just going to be a market style. I decided, because I was going to do 4-foot wide beds, but so that I can come through and turn them into 4-foot wide raised beds. And then I was like, if I'm doing the whole thing with soil and then wood chips, I'm not going to have any, it's not going to fall apart. So I decided just this part here and all over here is just going to be in-ground beds. Not in-ground beds. Well, I guess technically in-ground beds. But anyways, built up in-ground beds. So that's kind of the new style over here. And I think when I get to that area over there, once we get those trees down, those ones are probably going to be some nice big raised beds. We'll see how things go. As always, I'm subject to change at any moment in time. It is the next day, and now is actually the last day of this gardening vlog, but I'm not actually doing anything today. I'm just going to show you everything that we did yesterday. So we ended up getting that entire row. It is 47 feet long, I believe, and 30 inches wide, and we put probably about 8 inches of soil on top of there. And then we also have these two beds. That one's 2 feet long, or 2 feet wide. This one's 30 because you can't access it on the other side, so I made it a little bit thinner. And then this one's 30 inches, and as you can see, we had a little bit of wind going on. So I might try and secure these tonight. I got 6 more rolls of a different kind. It looked like it was, I don't know if this stuff is treated or not, so I wanted to go with something that's a little more just brown paper. So I got another one. It seems like it's not quite as thick, but not by a whole lot, and it's just basic brown paper, so I decided to go with that one. Today's Saturday. I had the market today. If you guys aren't aware, if you guys are local, every Saturday, most Saturdays, I go to the Ava Farmers Market and I sell ferments there. And while I was there, because of the sad state, in the last gardening vlog I shared with you that I was transplanting, whichever, a bunch of my starts, and some of them are doing great, a lot of them are not. Let me show you. I had a feeling this would happen. I knew that a lot of the starts were just on the major struggle bus. So you can see these ones all had like the stem rotted out. If you guys know what that is, I mean, I can Google it, I can look it up. But if you guys know off the top of your heads, I would love to know how to prevent that. You know, but there's some that are doing great. At least, decent. These ones, it got really hot today in the greenhouse, and a lot of these brassicas looks like they just fried in the heat. We had the door open, the heat was off, and from first thing in the morning, but my son said it got like 98 degrees in here. I have one of those remote thermometers that goes inside so you can see, and I've got the probe right there. That's on the north side, so it won't get any sun. So I think the time has definitely come that I think sometime this coming up week, I'm going to put the window in here. I'm gonna be home for the whole week, so I can keep an eye on it. Get a fan out here if I need to, but unfortunately I was gone all day today. So the fan is definitely on the horizon to come in here very soon. But anyways, my point being, I was at the farmer's market and I picked up a ton of peppers and tomatoes from Living Traditions. For a comparison, these are what they grew. They look gorgeous. And the tomatoes, I haven't taken out of the bag yet and put in the tray, but those suckers are gargantuan. So my plan is over the probably next week, I'm going to, the reason that I'm all scattered, sorry. The reason that I haven't removed these, even though they're all dead, is I'm going to replace them as a succession sowing of the ones that died. Hopefully it'll work. We'll see. It is currently, it's the first week of May. I want to say it's May 6th. So I think I got plenty of time. I can get these things up and running for succession planting, because last year when I first got here, I planted tomatoes probably 3 weeks after I got here. So it was like almost the end of June. And I started with starts, just standard starts, and I got a just absolute abundance of tomatoes. So I think it'll work. But anyways, these ones they're gonna make it. They're gonna be fine. But I wanted to get the ones that are good and fantastic so that I can start getting those in the ground, start getting tomatoes sooner before these guys are actually ready to go in the ground. And because they just look gorgeous. So kudos to them. They definitely know how to grow starts. All of their starts looked phenomenal. There's something eating holes in my greenhouse. So, like I mentioned in the last gardening vlog, I'm planning on doing a weekly gardening vlog with you guys, and it's not going to be anything phenomenal. I'm certainly no Jess from Roots and Refuge, but I'm just going to bring you along as we are building onto this massive garden that we're getting ready to create without machines, mind you. The only machine I have is my truck, and I have to load everything into the truck by hand, unload it into the wheelbarrow, and cart it over here. So, if I can do it, anybody can do it, especially if you have the space for it. So I hope you guys are going to be inspired by this coming up gardening year. I'm going to share with you guys all that I'm doing. I think in the next garden video, I'm not sure if it's going to be kind of a before tour, but it might be. If not, it'll be the one afterwards. But we're definitely going to be starting seeds. I'm going to share with you all the seeds that I am starting, and we're going to do a bootstrap farmer haul. So I hope you guys enjoy. Make sure you check out this video if you're interested in what I did last week and gonna get all kinds of inspiration. So, peace out, sauerkraut.